Hello, how are you? Hmm. Yes. Well, welcome. This is a different kind of live for me because I actually have a kind of an outline of something that I'm wanting to share. Right. And so this is an introduction to a series of videos that I'm going to be presenting all around the subject of death and dying. And some of you may know that just last week, my brother passed away. And in that process of him transcending his physical form and moving beyond this experience in our reality, in that time that from then until now, he has been teaching me a lot about this process. I've been experiencing death in a very different way. And I have to admit that there have only been a few deaths in my life of people that were very close to me, that were like blood relative, or someone that I really loved, or someone I was deeply connected to in a maybe not my blood relative, but someone I was deeply connected to at the heart. And so Andy, my grandfather, crossed over. My grandmother, my sister, I'm the oldest, so that my sister Lonnie, she passed away in 2001. And then my brother, who passed away on August the 10th, which was my grandmother's birthday. In any case, these experiences, these events don't happen often in our life, but I think that we find um, for whatever reason right now, death seems to be a very high topic of conversation around, we're experiencing a pandemic in our world. There are people are really afraid to get sick or to die. And then we get to look at the dying process and what's actually occurring, and what is it that we believe is actually happening. So I'm going to put together, I don't really know how many videos, but rather than doing like a one long video that's 40 minutes or something like that, I've decided that I'm going to do a series of videos and just bring forward different topics concerning each aspect of the journey that we will all take of leaving our bodies, our physical form. And I believe, this is my personal belief, that we then re-emerge into love, into the divine wholeness of all life. We merge once again with the creator, the loving, infinite source, life-giving source of the universe, right? We return to love. And so I'm going to be really speaking from that perspective. I'm going to be sharing that. And really, the series is going to be my views and how I experience the death and the dying process and what I've learned from my brother in the few days since he's made his transition. And I'm learning more and more every day. And I'm sure that as I'm doing this work here, I will continue to learn more. So things I want to talk about, I kind of started making a list, which is really kind of different for me. So I want to talk about for those that are left behind, what is the experience for us, those that leave, that once a loved one leaves, what is our experience and how can we navigate that in a way of grace and ease and forgiveness and grieving and feeling our grief, really allowing it to be present but learning to not to get stuck in that. So I'll speak to that in one of the videos. I'll also speak to what I believe is the experience for that beautiful love essence, that light that has returned to source, that's returned to the heart of God, the infinite creator, the divine wisdom. And then we'll talk about the power of forgiveness, right? Sometimes it's a journey for us, especially, sometimes in our family relationships, there might have been a little conflict, right? And sometimes people pass without those things being resolved. And so how do we move forward beyond that and do not create an immense amount of suffering for ourselves? in it during this process of releasing, experiencing the dying process for a loved one, and then how it is that you navigate that for yourself that allows you to experience grace and experience love and compassion, right? And then there's the forgiveness if maybe this person, um, you know, there, maybe there's some forgiveness for this person for you, maybe around something that had occurred or whatever. Like for me, my father, I did not ever meet my dad, so I never met my father, right? So I don't even really know if my father's alive or dead, but if he were passed over, it would be that whole thing of like forgiving, because there was a time when I was angry about it, but then just the forgiveness of everybody is doing the best that they can. And I cannot know the story behind why all that happened. And so then just having forgiveness rather than holding on to resentment or pain or anything like that. And then I want to talk about how do we live on beyond the loss of a loved one, especially if it's like a parental, like your dad or your mother. How do you live beyond that? Or someone like maybe you were raised by your grandmother and she makes her transition. How do you live beyond that? Especially if it's someone who's like a true north for you, right? So I'll talk about that. And then the opportunity that we have available to now while they're here still living to love them while they're here, to take the effort and the extra time to connect with them, call them on the phone. You can even do these things where you hold them in your mind, right? And then you bring it from the mind down into the heart, and this this beautiful loved one that you want to communicate your love to. Mm. Maybe for whatever reason, this is just the way that feels the best to you right now in this moment, right? Instead of picking up the phone or whatever, going to visit, it just feels right for you to just hold them in your heart and just hold them in your heart, and then just love them, just love, just send them this love, send it to them, and then know that they're receiving that, and they're not even consciously aware of where it's coming from. However, we can amplify our love in such a way as we can reach those that we want to love. So, let's see, what else do I have here? I want to talk about that we'll all make this sacred journey. And then how is it that, in light of looking around and seeing what our loved ones are experiencing in the process of losing a loved one, right? How is it that we can be responsible for what happens for us beyond our physical form, right? With the physical body and with our things, because sometimes people don't leave a lot of instructions, and you just kind of have to do the best that you can, right? But all right, and then to talk a lot about the grieving process and how it is that we can grieve and really be present, and then how long does that last, and is it the same for everybody, and then what can we learn from all of that? So there's a lot here. There's a lot here that I want to share. So I just wanted to bring this introduction to let you know that these videos will be coming up. I don't know what order they'll show up in. It'll probably just be more as I'm divinely guided and inspired to share them with you. But I wanted to make you aware that this was a series, a conversation around death and dying. And then I'm going to probably do another one around love and living, because that's the other part that my brother Bill is teaching me about right now. So death and dying, love and living, and yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to experience our sacred journey and the finality of our departure in physical form from this plane, because I believe that we're infinite beings, that we're love and fully expressed as these 3D bodies, and that we're here just to be more of that, to be more loving. And sometimes people get lost along the way and they lose it. They lose the ability to see the love inside of themselves. And that's when it's important for us to see it inside of them so that they can get a glimpse of it themselves. Right? So we're here as these powerful activators of love in this field of infinite potential, creating the world that we want to live in and love in, right? Be in, honoring and loving each other. Okay. So I'll look forward to sharing with you some of these topics that I've discussed, and I'm wishing you an amazing day. I hope that the sun is shining brightly in your world and that, yeah, love is all around you. Right? So be love, be loved, beloved. I'll see you soon. Aloha.